Hello, friends, community members. After a long conversation with some of the members of Easton Mountain resident community, we agreed that we would like to get a message out from Easton Mountain to our extended community about these painful days that we've all been living through. Obviously, for the last several weeks, we've all been dealing with the pain of COVID-19. And during that time, we've had the amazing opportunity to be with you in Zoom space. And in the last few days, on top of that difficult chapter, we've all been facing the civil unrest in our country that's been the result of the painful murder of George Floyd that we all saw on video through social media. And the ensuing riots and demonstrations reflect the pain and the rage of people across the country. And while sometimes it's tempting for us to think that we're very isolated up here on the mountain, we too are feeling this incredible, painful period. We strive to be compassionate, and that word literally means to suffer with. So we want to acknowledge that we are suffering with our friends, community members, and the people across this country who've been subjected to the gross, unfair, barbaric, racist difficulties that so many of them live through. We too, as a group of predominantly white men, understand that we have privilege and that we've been largely insulated from the day-to-day pain that so many of our brothers of color experience. In addition to the privilege of being remote, we also know that because we have the privilege of our race, that we're complicit in this kind of complex, unjust system where racism and classism and social injustice are affecting so many people in the world today. And we can't just sit back and not do something. And yet these problems are so huge, it's often tempting to pretend that we can't do anything. So as we think and as we feel and as we struggle, we acknowledge that because of the mission that we are trying to live out daily, to create an environment of healing, a place where people can come together and work on building community, addressing emotional, physical, intellectual challenges, and that our mission is not only to help people do that, but to do that in service so that we may become greater agents of change in this world. And to that end, we're committed to looking at our own subtle and not so subtle racism that we all live with, to educate ourselves, to continue to try to build a more diverse community here and in our programming, but with the full acknowledgement that that's not enough, that we must become anti-racist together. And that we're going to begin this process with Ibram Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. And we're going to start talking to each other about the impact of racism on us as individuals and as a community, and not rely on our community members of color to educate us. We want to take greater responsibility to educate ourselves. Additionally, each of us in our own way is looking at how we can put ourselves more on the line and take greater risks to change the situation, and also to make the resources that we've been blessed with, this particular retreat center, to put it more in service of greater social justice, to ramp up our commitment, that part of our commitment, that part of our mission, to serve people who are working on the front lines. So whether that is through offering retreat space for people to come together to brainstorm ways that they can be greater agents of change, or just to get away and to relax and recuperate so that they can be returned to the struggle. Easton Mountain wants to commit itself more clearly this day to our mission to create a more just, peaceful, equitable world, and in particular, to work on this in ways that we're able, the impact of structural racism on ourselves and the world in which we live. Thanks for listening to us. Know that we're here, that we're thinking of you, that we're in the struggle with you, and have a blessed day.